Welcome to Android Dialog tutorial, and today is the fifth one. So let me remind you the first four what we did. So first was introduction. We discussed three essential classes: activity, fragment, and dialog fragment. Second lesson was to create main activity. Third lesson was to create dialog layout. We just did XML stuff. The previous lesson, number 4, we did the coding, the minimal coding to make your dialog alive, so we could actually show the dialog. And today we are going to complete, we are going to finish the dialog logic, and let me show you the steps. First of all, dialog very similar to main activity, and whatever widgets you wanna use in your dialog logic, you have to declare as the fields in your class. So you can see here I declare 3 edit text widgets. I created 3 strings to get text from those widgets, and I created 2 button widgets. So it's very similar to main activity, how you do main activity programming. Also, I implemented on-click listener because I have 2 buttons and I'm supposed to handle them. In the previous lesson we didn't handle button clicks. The constructor still the same, no changes, but here you have to connect XML elements and Java widgets, so it's very similar how you connect them to main activity class. The only difference is view. You have to provide view first after find view by ID. Then I connect the buttons and I register, so both buttons going to trigger click event. So that's what I've done in my dialog class. Now what's the logic? On click logic, first you have to get the address of your parent activity using get activity method. Second, you have to analyze which button was pressed, and if it's cancel, you call dialog done method and return. If it's not cancelled, then you get text from the widgets and you call dialog done method, but now with the parameters. So what is dialog done? Dialog done is my method. I declare it in main activity. Feel free to call it whatever you like. You need as many parameters as you want. But the point is the dialog has to be finished in main activity. So the method to close the dialog is called dismiss. And technically speaking, I could dismiss my dialog here inside my dialog Java coding, but probably it's not a good idea. The better idea is to prepare special method. It belongs to main activity class, and what it does, it analyzes which button was clicked, and if it was okay, then method is showing us all the data through the parameters. So dialog done method is to get data from your dialog, and if the OK button was pressed, you show data, you dismiss the dialog. If the cancel button was pressed, you don't have to process data, there is nothing to show, you just dismiss your dialog. So dialog done is very important method. You develop this method, you place it into main activity, but you call it from my dialog class. And again, the name of the method, the number of the parameters, the type of the parameters is all up to you. So that's basically all. So you see, again, my dialog class, I retrieve the main activity address. If the button was cancelled, I call dialog done with false and no strings. If it was OK button, then I save text into 3 string variables and I call dialog done with the true and with the 3 strings. So this way I establish connection back from my dialog to main activity. And again, the important thing is main activity is supposed to close your dialog, because main activity gave a birth to my dialog, and the main activity is supposed to kill, if you wish, supposed to kill my dialog. So let's check. Now I can go to my emulator, I can click personal info, I can type whatever I want. This is next button. If you remember edit text, this is next, and this is done button. Now let's say I press OK. Now you see the message, all the data was received from my dialog. But if, let's say, I typed something, then I changed my mind, I press cancel, then nothing is displayed. Nothing is displayed. You ignored basically dialog because the user changed his mind. So that's basically all I wanted to show you today. Basically we finished the application. The only question which is still not answered is how to pass data from main activity to my dialog, because what we did so far, we were passing data from my dialog to main activity. Yes, dialog is a helper, it's supposed to do something and it's supposed to report back to main activity. But sometimes, probably it's not as often, but sometimes you also need to pass data from the main activity to the helper, to my dialog. And that's what we are going to do next lesson. So we are going to discuss passing data from now main activity, from the parent to my dialog, to the helper. Thank you very much for watching. All the best, and wait for my next lessons. Bye bye.